Welcome everybody to this episode of Mystic Steve. I've been off for a couple weeks. I was starting a new job, and also in that time I was doing some great research on different topics, and I was also improving my video skills to improve the content here. However, for those who did manage to see my last episode, which was called Archetype of the Lucky Fool, in that I covered Rip Van Winkle, and I got a little feedback. One of my friends was like, well, Steve, Rip Van Winkle, that's not mysticism. I thought you were going to talk about, the stars and all that. True. I decided to put Rip Van Winkle in the mythology category of American myth, and I'm starting with American myth. We're in the great US of A, so I decided to start there. And continuing with that, this episode is by the same author, a similar tale that you may be familiar with, but it's a little bit different tone than Rip Van Winkle. Here we're going to be exploring more of a darker side of humanity. And what we have here by Washington Irving is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And if you can see there, that's Ichabob Crane. Some of you may remember from childhood, there was a famous cartoon called the Headless Horseman, And if you've seen that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you have not seen that, I'm going to post the link because it's free on YouTube, and go ahead and watch that cartoon. Your kids will love it. It's a great cartoon by Disney. However, for those who have seen it, there's a little bit of a question mark at the end there. What happens to Ichabob Crane? He's a new guy in town. He's from Connecticut. This was back when Manhattan was the size of a town. Right? This was pre-American. This was an English colony just north of Manhattan. Manhattan was a small town with one church. All right, Ichabob Crane rolls up, and the people are just like, ooh, who's this guy? This guy. And Ichabob did have some charm to him. He could dance. He made good money. He was a schoolmaster, which is a principal. So principals make fairly good money, especially compared to just your average farmer. So the people were intrigued by this Ichabob Crane guy. And there was one guy who was particularly intrigued, and his name was Brom Bones. And I'm just going to bring up and show you Brom Bones here. If you guys, for those who have seen the cartoon, please watch it if you haven't. Look at Brom Bones. Look at, he likes to drink. That's him at the pub there, filling up the mugs for his buddies. Ooh, looking a little resentful there. And then you see Ichabob Crane dancing with the lovely Miss Katrina Van Tassel. Now, who's Katrina Van Tassel? Well, her father is Lord Van Tassel. As back then, New York was a colony, and Lord Van Tassel was the richest man in the land at that time. So Katrina Van Tassel, not only just beautiful, but sweet, charming, smart, kind, lovely. She was just great in so many ways, and everybody wanted to marry her. And Brom Bones, that's who Brom Bones wants. So anyways, the story goes that there was a party, and as you saw, Ichabob Crane was dancing with Katrina, and Brom Bones, when it got dark out, he calls people together. Hey, put the children to bed, because I'm about to tell you a story about this Headless Horseman, all right, that lives out in this woods. It's an old German soldier, lost his head from a cannon, and he's out there looking for his head. And if you cross this bridge at the wrong time and you don't make it, Headless Horseman's coming for you. And when he says that, he's looking right at Ichabob Crane. Now, in the cartoon, Ichabob Crane starts to get scared and is like, I'm out of here. I'm going home. I ain't playing no games like that. And and the scene happens, and that in the cartoon you see the Headless Horseman, and then at the end, the narrator of the cartoon says, "Well, old Ichabob Crane, nobody knows what happened to him. Some say he went back to Connecticut. Some say he fell off his horse and had an accident and died. Some say that he got attacked by the ghost of the Headless Horseman, and nobody knows." But I'm here to offer a little different take on that. When Ichabob was dancing with Katrina Van Tassel, what is not shown in the cartoon and what is not even in the books, Brom Bones summons up his goon squad of buddies and says, guys, come here, look, check this out. I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to make sure that Ichabod follows this path. You guys are going to go out in the woods. You're going to dress up like a ghost, and you are going to ambush this man, and you are going to murder Ichabob Crane, and you are going to bury this dude, and you're going to make sure his horse runs out of town. You understand me? The guys go, okay, yeah, sure. And lo and behold, Ichabob Crane goes on that road, on the same bridge that Brom Bones mentioned that he needed to go on to avoid the Headless Horseman. And when Ichabod was on that bridge, those goons jumped out and murdered this dude, Ichabob Crane, and buried his body in the woods. All right, so when you talk about scary stories, ghosts are not scary. Demons are not scary. Monsters are not scary. People are scary. Jealous people are scary. And in the year 1750, there was no forensics, there was no DNA testing. When Brom Bones got jealous, he murdered that dude, Ichabob Crane. So don't fear monsters, don't fear ghosts, fear people. Terror resides in the human heart. That's where it is. And when you talk about jealousy and envy and rage and that type of stuff, and there's even a commandment, thou shalt not covet. Well, when you covet too much and you take it too seriously, you end up like Ichabob Crane. Thank you everyone for listening to Mystic Steve. Please like and subscribe. That's going to conclude our series with Washington Irving and American Mythology. Please look out for great future updates, and thank you. Have a great day.